You're watching Your Turn. If it matters to you, it's important to us.
Today, I look at the impact, good and bad, of social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter, MySpace, the scores of bloggers out there. They are all the buzz, as you know. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, a caution for all of you. Fox 13's Kelly Ring shows us that some are not thinking before they leave their thoughts behind for the rest of the world to see.
They fire up laptops inside Tampa's Tre Amici Internet Cafe. Online chatter is louder than the room itself.
If you say you're recently single, people jump on it like, what happened? Oh my gosh, like you don't even get a phone call anymore. It's all on Facebook.
All your thoughts that friends can see all over the world, maybe your boss too, who may not be so friendly.
I said work sucks one day, and he was actually on Facebook. He's like, what's this about? You know, you better be excited about work. I could have said something a lot worse.
Luckily, nothing bad happened to Kayla. On the other hand,
my head was spinning.
Dan Leon wasn't so fortunate. He was fired from his part-time job with the Philadelphia Eagles. He posted a message which included a profane word criticizing the team on his Facebook page.
Watch what you're doing and don't be putting stuff on there for the whole world to see that you don't want your bosses to see.
Hiring managers are on the hunt too. Tampa's Kevin Connell does pre-employment background checks for national companies.
Anywhere from 25% to a third of all hiring managers are looking at a social media site on a job applicant at some point during the hiring cycle.
Web bloggers aren't immune either. The so-called Queen of the Sky, a Texas-based former flight attendant, lost her job after posting photos and ordinary stories about her life.
If you're too edgy, if you go over the edge, yeah, you'll get a lot of publicity, but you might end up paying for it too.
Tommy Duncan blogs on Sticks of Fire. It's an opinionated website he owns. Tommy often posts comments criticizing Bay Area public figures, government officials, and politicians, something he does with no regrets.
Not yet. I've had some second thoughts, but ultimately I've been careful enough in the front end of it to not really have it affect me.
Careful is the watchword as you leave your imprint on the cyber world, especially when it comes to your job.
Know what your company's policy is. And many people have these employee handbooks and they don't even look at it.
Kelly Ring, Fox 13 News.
So, have you posted something online you now regret or that came back to haunt you? Email us at yourturn@wtvt.com. We're going to see what's going on with all of you out there today. Joining us is Kevin Connell. You just saw him in that story, founder and CEO of AccuScreen.com. It is a pre-employment screening service. Karen Post, also known as the Branding Diva, international authority on branding and marketing, author of several books, including one called Brain Tattoos. And Peter Lake with Stetson College of Law, director of the Center for Excellence in Higher Education Law and Policy. Lady and gentlemen, when did this whole thing explode that nobody picks up the phone anymore? They all go to the internet. What is going on?
Well, everybody is doing it, and they predict by 2011, 1 billion people will be actively engaged in social media, where they're not just reading, but they're participating, and everything moves from monologue to dialogue. And that's where this whole thing has exploded.
Peter, you have a word for that I think is fascinating. I hadn't heard. There are a lot of words in this world that I haven't heard of before, but one of them is these kids are, that you work with, digital natives.
Digital natives, that's right. In the college populations, we see people living almost entirely in the virtual world. Everything that we do in the real world, they do in the digital world. So they date and they buy things and they shop and order food and communicate, etc. Everything that we do, they do in the digital world.
So instead of going to the mall and hanging out, or instead of calling on the phone like we used to do, or going to someplace to, I mean, everything is done virtually in the online world.
Everything, absolutely. In fact, most real-world equivalents are just happening because people have already gone online to do something first. So if you go down to a bar, most of the people there have already communicated with each other digitally before they get there. That's right. It's all happening ahead of time in the world. So you see, they do everything. They organize taxi service for each other. If someone's too drunk to come home, They call their friends and
Probably a
organize
good
taxi
thing.
services. Medical services. People need drugs or assistance. Their friends are there to help them out right away. And it's really kind of an amazing place once you jump into it. And what I want to say is that I think Facebook is very interesting, but there's a lot of stuff underneath Facebook that's disturbing. I don't know if you've seen VampireFreaks.com, the Gothic
Well,
website.
no, heck, I don't even have a
Yeah.
Facebook page, so I haven't seen VampireFreaks.com.
No,
What's
so
that?
This is dedicated
What is
sort
that?
of the dark side of culture, goth culture, the kids that dress in black and worship Satan or whatever they do. It's pretty disturbing, but it has a huge membership base. And I know Kevin must have seen this if you've done enough employment checks.
Certainly. It's really a demographic. If you were born, if you're 30 years or under, I mean, you grew up with the internet. You're doing things on the internet. You're communicating with your friends. You're trying to stay connected. And unlike the media of television, I mean, we're talking, the viewers are listening. There isn't really an interaction. Now
Yeah,
with
it's almost quaint, isn't
yes,
it?
yeah.
It's almost quaint and old-fashioned that we're doing this.
And the scary thing is when somebody is posting this information online, they think they're communicating with their friends when there's other people. And there's a lot of bad people out there that take advantage of the internet. There's a positive side of the internet, which makes our lives more productive. We can communicate, we can get a hold of friends that we haven't seen in years. But the dark side is there's a lot of predators out there that use these social media sites to prey upon children and to do what a common term is cyber stalk. Somebody is actually stalking somebody. So anything that you can do in the conventional world, stalking, physically stalking, you can stalk somebody on the internet. And they call it cyber stalking.
But that said in the story that almost 30%, almost a third of employers now are going to Facebook and other places and see who you are in order to have you let you keep your job or maybe decide to hire you. I mean, yours must be fun and a lot of college pictures of drinking, all sorts of activities that these kids don't even think about.
Well, it's out there, and in terms of those statistics, in terms of hiring managers, when they look at somebody's Facebook site or their MySpace site or follow them on Twitter, we personally, in the pre-employment stage, do not look at that information, and we recommend that our clients don't look at it either, because it is so easy to create a fake Facebook page. So you could take somebody's photo. The internet is all open source, so you can take somebody's information, create an identity of somebody else, and there's a person by the name of Matthew First, who is a businessman who somebody stole his identity, a supposed friend, but his friend basically created this fake Facebook page and said all of these negative things about him, and Matthew First sued that person. So, and the problem with social media is you cannot confirm the true identity of that person.
Well, let me take a break, Kevin, and ask then, how do employers know if you're looking on a social networking site if the person that you're thinking about hiring is really the person that you're investigating? We'll be right back.